talk me through what happened prior to your cancellation. What led up to, or I should say cancellation in air quotes, but there was obviously a sequence of events that led to this. And can you just walk me through what that looked like?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and I can't really say it was really one particular thing. One thing about growing so quickly, you suddenly have this huge audience, and you kind of always hope that the Twitter audience isn't going to catch on to you. It's kind of in the back of your head. It might happen, and you kind of just hope for the best. But I had just been having fun with my group of friends that I had made. We would just talk on stories, we'd tag each other and things, we would laugh. I would do little lives and we would all talk on lives, and it was very relaxed, very laid back. And there were just a group of armies that just did not like the way they just something about me rubbed them wrong. They didn't like the way I was interacting. And they just started kind of building this case against me. They started taking things I was saying out of context. They started screenshotting me, screen recording me, every move I was making, just collecting clips of me, and then um, kind of just building this campaign. And, it didn't really bother me at first because that's going to happen, right? Like, not everybody, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. No big deal. But then, I started to see that, people are posting me on their stories and they're saying these things that are false about me, posting things, and they're putting words in my mouth, things that are not true about me, and things like that. And that's when it started to really kind of get bad. And the major event, I guess, that really pushed it over the edge was my community had asked for a place where they can engage. This is before subscribers. They had asked for a place where they can all chat with one another. They asked for a Discord community. I had no idea what a Discord was, never used it before in my life. I said, okay, sure, I'll make it. I just created the Discord and that was it. And the Twitter crew went in it, infiltrated it, and started screenshotting every single thing that happened in it and shared it all over the place. And, it turned into a big mess, a big cancellation campaign that was not based on truth.
What were they saying? Like, what was the whole? So you said that there were some people who had a problem with you just because you were rubbing them up the wrong way. But what was their argument from the beginning?
The argument was, so we all know in this fandom, there are armies that have problems with viewing the guys as adults, at the adults that they are, or as sex symbols, or really us looking at them as attractive men. I mean, honestly, here's the thing. I think it's cultural too. I'm from the US, and when you look at pop stars and you look at people in the entertainment industry, they market themselves as sex symbols, right? So when you look at them and you talk about it and you'll say they're sexy or this and that, in K-pop, that's really polarizing. I mean, there's parts of the fandom that are just not okay with that at all. So this group of armies had a big problem with sexualizing members. It was a huge problem for them. And that was part of it. And that was the main attack on me. But that piece of it, which we know that a lot of the fandom, that happens in the fandom, that's not new. But what they had started to say was that I was luring baby armies in with my content to so I can lure them into my perverse ways. And they even started saying I was grooming armies, I was engaging with minors. They've used the word pedophilia, like all kinds of these horrible things that were not true at all. And there was no evidence
That's
of it
really
either.
rough too.
Well,
Like to
right.
just swing those words around.
Well, that's kind of what freaked me out, because if you're going to come after me about sexualizing members, I can whatever, right? Like, I'm not going to get upset about that. But as a mother, as a person who has a career, now you're going to start blasting it all over that I groom minors, and you're going to start implying, that I engage in pornography, child pornography, all these things. You cannot throw those words around. And then I was starting to get, I started getting all of these DMs. I'm starting to see Twitter threads saying, find where she lives, find where she works. All of these things, the DMs, threats, it just got really, really bad. And anybody that publicly supported me was getting their name blasted publicly, to where now all the people that supported me are changing their handles, are hiding, are deactivating, are afraid to support me. It was completely isolating. It was completely, so, it was tough. It was tough. I felt like I was in a position where I had to step away because that was there. Those were some real life accusations that could be really
Yeah.
bad.
And your safety was you felt like your safety was at risk if they were trying to find out where you lived, where you worked. That's very serious.
Very. Yeah, it was. And I had never experienced anything like that before in my life. I had never experienced cyberbullying like that ever. And just all in the name of protecting BTS. That's what kind of
Right.
blew
Yeah.
my mind.
Protecting. Yeah.
Protecting. And, and I had done nothing to harm these men. And there was nothing to harm these men. And it was all based, and it was, a smear campaign that people were following, not doing any fact checking on any of it. They just blindly were just following a Twitter thread that they saw, and they just go. They read it and they just grab their torches and they go after you. It's the wildest
So
thing.
what was the experience like when this first started happening? Were you just getting comments and messages from people attacking you?
Yeah, so it first started in my DMs. I started getting some DMs calling me a creep, a weirdo, like some kind of just, and I just said, okay, strange. And then I would just delete them, block and move on. And then it just started coming more and more and more. So then when the DMs, I turn off the DMs, then I started getting comments on my content, and I turned off the comments, and then they would go into older content. Like it would move it. They kept finding ways to get to me. So however they can find me. And then I have a Twitter that I don't even use. Never used it before, but I have an account. They found me. They found my YouTube account. They found my personal Instagram. They just like found whatever they can find. They collected over 200 screenshots and images of me and put them on a Google Drive and saved them on a Google Drive. And we're sharing this Google Drive, passing it around with all of my personal information. So that's when I noticed it was really bad. I'm like, I felt hunted at the moment where I could not hide anywhere. My digital footprint was being watched everywhere, is what it felt like.